Hi, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we are going to talk about part 3 of our series on how to heal the mother wound. So if you missed them, you can check out part 1 and part 2 down below. I put the links there. And basically in part 1 we just talked about a little bit of the history of the last 100 years in the Western world and how that may have affected women and femininity and how they express themselves as mothers. And I would also just like to add that even if that wasn't a part of your mother's cultural experience or your cultural experience, just the energy of war and of civil unrest and of not being safe, not having enough, like the scarcity mentality that pretty much is universal, will cause a shutdown of the feminine. And so even if your cultural experience or the experience that your mother had was nothing to do with World War II, just knowing that growing up anywhere in the world where you're not feeling safe, supported, loved, and cared for, and like it's safe to be a woman, it's going to cause issues. And then in the second video we talked about viewing your mother just as a human. So just trying to remove some of that expectation we place on our mothers as of what they should be because they are our mothers, and just seeing them as humans and allowing yourself to just cultivate a little bit of compassion and understanding for your mother, which can help you heal in the long term, because when you remove those expectations and you can start to just see your mom as another human being, as a fellow human being who's just like you, it can be easier to forgive her and to move on. So now in this third video, what I want to talk about is how we can take what happened to us in the context of our relationship with our mothers and turn that into something positive, and how we can use the mother wound as a tool for actually cultivating more self-love and deeper self-love. So most people tend to look at the mother wound and feel that it hinders their ability to love themselves, and it, especially for women, can hinder our ability to express ourselves as women and to embrace the feminine and to even know what the feminine is. And I think that for a long time, we all kind of walked around with this mother wound feeling like it was, like I say, stopping us from embracing our own femininity and from loving ourselves and from nourishing ourselves, because we didn't get that from our mothers, or because we got this weird idea in our head that we didn't want to be anything like our mothers, and so we can kind of, swing the other way of however they were, which is not necessarily being authentic to ourselves, and it's not necessarily being loving when you are just kind of almost rebelling for the sake of rebelling. And I think that a lot of us need to go through that experience, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Going through a period of time where you just rebel from your mother because of everything that you perceive that she did to you, it's part of growing up. It's part of our evolution as human beings, and I think that, rebelling from your parents in any way is kind of an important step to go through. But when you're kind of done that, and you're noticing that the pain isn't going away, and that you trying to not be like your mother or not do what your mother did or shut down your femininity isn't working for you, that's when you can kind of start to integrate what I'm going to talk about right now, which is number 1, start to notice all the things that you wish your mother had given you, that you wish she had provided for you, that you feel that she didn't provide for you, and start to provide those things for yourself. And I know that this might sound harsh or hard or painful to hear at first, that you should have to do this for yourself. But the thing is, we can actually turn all the neglect that we experienced in our relationship with our mothers into something that allows us to know what our needs are in a very, very clear way, and that provides us with an opportunity to figure out how to get those needs met without an external source, which is actually a huge gift in the end, because when you can meet your own needs and you can identify your own needs and meet them whenever you need to, you are free. You are not you are then not reliant upon an outside source for love or for nurturing or for caring or for whatever it is that you feel that your mother didn't provide for you. When you can learn to start to provide that for yourself, you are free, right? So it's very painful, and I understand that, to feel like your needs weren't met when they should have been met by your mother. However, I'm just saying that you can take that and you can turn it around and let it be something that helps you be aware of what you need, and let it be something that helps you learn to provide that for yourself. So when you're feeling lonely and you're feeling sad and you just wish that your mother had loved you or comforted you or put her arms around you, start doing that for yourself. Start filling that need, start filling that void, or start finding healthy ways of getting that need met outside of yourself. So, you know, talking on the phone with a friend that you know you can trust, allowing someone to cuddle you, allowing yourself to receive nourishment and compliments from outside of yourself. Just starting to notice where those needs weren't met and how you can start to meet them in healthy ways. The second thing I would invite you to do is start to notice if this happened to you. So generally when we have this mother wound and our moms didn't provide for us something that we needed, or they were maybe they were passive aggressive, maybe they were actually aggressive, perhaps they were like literally abusive, perhaps they were just withholding, maybe they were manipulative and there was a lot of mind stuff that went on there. Just starting to notice, almost like give yourself space and time to just analyze it as though it didn't happen to you. Okay, like, so just to dissociate yourself from it for a little bit and just start to say, okay, like, that behavior wasn't normal. That behavior wasn't healthy. That behavior wasn't in alignment with what I deserve, okay? And start to just see that it was like, this was my mom. This was her stuff that she carried that doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with me if I don't want it to. And you don't have to own it. You don't have to take on her patterns or her way of being and either own them as it was your fault or there was something wrong with you, nor do you have to reject them and try and do the opposite. You can just say that, okay, this was who she was as a human being. It doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with who I am as a human being. Just because my mother was this way doesn't mean that it had anything to do with me, because a lot of the times it wasn't you that she was doing this to. She wasn't doing it to you. She wasn't, we need to understand that when people have these wounds, and most of our mothers that have caused mother wounds have mother wounds, and you just need to know that it wasn't you, right? It was them. It was their stuff. It was your mom's stuff. And you don't have to carry that with you if you don't want to. And you can start to notice, as you remove yourself from it a little bit, that, you know, you don't need to carry that around anymore. I'm giving you permission to let that go right now, because the more you allow yourself to let that stuff go and to start to understand who you are as a human being and what you value and how you want to express yourself, the more free you're going to feel, okay? And then the third thing that I want to talk about is just to notice if you have allowed your mother to skew your view of femininity. And I think that so many of us have. We have seen our moms, either they were being, you know, weak, we saw them as weak and manipulative and conniving and all this stuff, and that is something that we've seen as a weakness, so we tend to go more masculine because we just want to reject that weakness. Or we saw them as being really strong and over domineering and way more masculine, and then we allowed that to turn us more, we tend to be like pushovers. We go way soft the other way because we just didn't want to get in the way of the storm that was your mother. And what I want you to do is just notice how her view of femininity and her expression of femininity has caused you to alter your expression of femininity. And then I want you to just take your power back. I want you to say that, you know, however my mother was, that's how my mom was. But that doesn't define me. And that doesn't have to define you. And that doesn't have to define how you express your femininity. And just because your mom was overpowering doesn't mean you have to be overpowering or that you have to be submissive. And the other way, if your mother was super submissive and you saw her as weak, that doesn't mean that you need to go all masculine fully and completely to be strong. You can be feminine and strong. And I just want you to know that you are your own person. Whatever your mother did, whatever your mother went through, however your mom, expressed herself to you or whatever, you don't have to own any of it. Okay? And this is the biggest thing, is I want you to take your power back. I want you to take your responsibility back. And I want you to say, however my mother was, whatever my mother did, I don't have to own any of it. I am my own person, and I get to choose how I'm going to let it affect me. So if you feel like the way that your mother expressed love to you is causing you to have an issue with expressing love to yourself, just pause for a moment and be like, look, do I want this? Do I really want to be the kind of person that can't love myself because my mom didn't love me? Or do I want to use it as a tool to help me love myself more? Right? So do I really want to be the kind of person that walks around for the rest of my life recounting how my mom failed me? Or do I want to be the kind of person that takes what happened with my mom and learns from it and allows it to empower me to be the kind of woman that I want to be? And this is what I want you to think about. How do you want to let it affect you? Because the thing is, you get to decide. Whatever happened is what happened, but you get to decide what you're going to do with it. Okay? So you decide if you're going to let it make you more feminine, more connected with yourself, more aware of what you need, more aware of how to get your needs met, or if you're going to allow it to affect your ability to love yourself, and if you're going to allow it to hinder you. And that's really just, at the end of the day, that's your choice. And that's a powerful, amazing, beautiful choice to have. So that's my series on the mother wound. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks.